Hello and welcome to Big Orbit Games unboxing video of the Force of Will trial deck, Valentina, the Princess of Love water deck. My name is Simon, I'm joined today by James.
Hello, I'm James.
And we're going to be unboxing this and just showing you what's in the box. So we're not going to go into a huge amount of detail for the deck, we're just going to give you an overview of what's in there so you've got an idea. Assuming you're watching this because you are a new player and you're curious, so I'll quickly show you all the stuff you get in here. So, excuse my coughing. You get a quick rules reference, which is useful for when you're starting to learn the game. So for the first few times you play, you'll probably want to reference this. It just shows you the turn sequence and what all the different cards mean and do in the different areas of the game in different terms, but it is designed as a quick way to get you into the rules and get you into playing the game. You get a playmat in there as well. This is very useful for starting with, especially if you're not used to card games. So you know sort of there's different zones and where everything goes. So where your Magic Stone and Magic main deck is. In the background we've got beautiful artwork of the Seven Kingdoms. However, the only gripe with this is very good for learning to play, not so good in the long term. It's just a little bit too small to be of use long term, unfortunately.
Yeah, as you can see by this other official Force of Will playmat, it's a lot smaller, and also even this can be too small at times.
Yeah, sometimes you can get a rather full field of resonators and cards. So, and in there you also get a reference, a rules reference. This is useful once you have learned how to play and you've got some questions about the more nitty-gritty details of the game. This is where you need to go. It all folds out, which I'm not going to completely unfold, but any sort of nitty-gritty rules you want to know about or interactions, the rules reference is where you head to. So, we're on to the main deck. So you get a pre-built 40-card deck, and you also get your 10-card Magic Stone deck. Magic Stone deck can be up to 20, but a minimum of 10, and in this one, you just get 10 water stones. Each one just taps for a single water will. So you get those in there. You then get your 40-card main decks. At the front you have your ruler slash J ruler.
Very scared of that one.
Yeah, it's stuck to it. So this is sort of like what the core of your deck usually is focused around. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the rules and details, but this isn't an in-depth guide of how to play, just a brief overview. So Valentina, the Princess of Love, is the ruler side, which is the side it will start on. She has an ability, pay 2 water, put a water resonator with a total cost 2 or less from your hand into your field. Because this is an ability, it means you can effectively do it at any time, including your opponent's turn. And this is sort of where the real strength of the deck shines, is in this ability to play cards during your opponent's turn and at any time.
It's also a special kind of summoning, isn't it? So if you were to normal summon, a lot of people can counter that.
Yeah.
But with this, it's a lot harder to counter.
Because it's been put into play by an ability, not cast. So it's interesting. Then we've got Judgment. So rulers have a Judgment which allows them to flip to the J ruler side, which when you pay, flips her to Valentina, the ruler of Paradise. So now she's become a J ruler with 500 attack and defense, so she's effectively a normal resonator at this point. When she enters the field though, put the top card of your Magic Stone deck into your Magic Stone area, so you get a Magic Stone, which is nice. Then prevent all damage that would be dealt to this card during your turn. So if your opponent tries to cast instants and use abilities to try and damage her during your turn, they can't. She gains 100 for each card in your hand, so the more you draw, the more powerful she gets.
But the max hand size is 7.
Yeah, so maximum she would be 1200. And then she has a God's Art ability. So most rulers have a God's Art abilities. God's Arts can only be used once per game, so they're one-time effects. Hers is the Chain of Love. For 4 will, you gain control of target resonator. Very simple. And that's permanently, by the way.
Yeah, very good though. If your opponent's got a big buff monster out, you just want to use it for yourself.
Yoink, mine. So that is the Valentina. So, we're on to the cards in the deck now. So the first one is Alice's Little Scout. So she costs 1 blue will to play and nothing more. There's no additional costs here. She has 200 attack and 200 defense. She is a resonator with the soldier race, and when she's put into a graveyard from your field, draw a card. The idea then is to play her out and just be aggressive, keep attacking with her, or use her to block with, because when she dies you get to draw another card. So, and you get 4 of those in there. When I slide that one up, you get 4 of those in there. We then have a spell Chant, Charm of the Princess. Very similar to her God's Art ability. It's 2 will, 2 blue will, and then X. So X of any colour will. Gain control of target resonate with total cost X or less. So if you wanted to control something, say like your opponent's Alice's little scout, you'd have to pay 1 into the X. Or if you wanted to control something like their Guaiba, which is a 5 will resonator, you'd have to put 5, 6, 7 in total.
But at that point, you might want to prefer to use Valentina instead.
God's Art, because it costs 4 no matter how, no matter what the resonator is. But still, it's useful when to help swing things. So you get 2 of those in there. We then have Arail.
I've heard it said Urali.
Urali.
Something like that.
Okay. The Dark Eye of Blindness. Anyone who's watched my videos before, by the way, will know I suffer terribly with pronunciations. She costs 3 will to play. She's a Gorgon with 600 attack and 500 defense. And when she enters your field, rest target resonator. It doesn't recover during the recovery phase as long as this card is in the field. So it's keeping something under wraps for a while. And you can pay a blue, target Gorgon gains plus 200 attack, no defense until end of turn, plays ability once per turn. So she could target herself or another Gorgon you've got in play. So you get 4 of those. Then we have Forcing, which is a normal spell, so you can play it in your turn. And it's quite simply draw 2 cards.
Always useful.
Always useful, which is why you get 4 of them. You then get a Medusa, the Deadeye of Petrification. So, the Medusa of myth and legend. She's 3 will to play, 600 attack, 600 defense.
Also a Gorgon.
Also a Gorgon. And whenever this card blocks or is blocked by a resonator, put that resonator on the bottom of its owner's main deck. So tuck it away somewhere they can't find it. And you can pay 1 water. Gorgons you control gain plus 200 until end of turn, but you can only do this once per turn, so you can't stack them. So you can see there's a bit of a Gorgon theme.
That's a great card, because once you go to attack, if your opponent decides to block, it just goes straight to the bottom and the attack still goes through.
Yeah, it's absolutely foul. Also to note, you get 4 of those in there. But if we just zoom in here, we'll notice next to the collector's number it says SR, which means it's a super rare. So you're getting 4 super rares in a trial deck. How fantastic is that? We also have Shangri-La, the Paradise on the Ocean. This is an addition field, so this goes into play and has a global effect. It costs 2 will to play. When this card enters the field, draw a card, always good. Water resonators you control get 100, so that's a continuous effect. And as long as you have 5 or more cards in your hand, water resonators you control get 100. So that's fitting in with Valentina's wanting to have cards in hand and forcing. As long as you keep a nice hand of cards, you're giving your resonators a 200 buff.
Which is what blue are good at.
Yeah. And you get 4.
Water, sorry.
Water. Well, it is blue. Squire of the Ocean Lady. So she's only 2 will to play, 400 attack and defense. She is a human, and when she enters your field, draw a card. As you can see, there's quite a few that draw you cards, and you get 4 of her. You also get regalia in here. So each of the decks comes with a regalia, which is fitting of the ruler. This one is Gleipnir, the Red Binding of Fate. So it costs nothing to play, you just put it into play. And whenever your J-Ruler deals battle damage to your opponent or a J-Ruler, draw a card. Oh, lots of draw. Also has an ability, Rest. Target J-Resonator your opponent controls gains this turn, this card must block if able. If your J ruler is Valentina, the Princess of Love, or Valentina, Rule of Paradise, recover that J resonator. Now the first time this is read, it does confuse some people, but the idea is you're forcing one of your opponent's resonators or J rulers to have to block this turn. And if you control Valentina, it gets recovered in the process, so it is free and ready to do that.
But combining this with Medusa,
yeah,
sort of makes it so their biggest creature could easily go to the bottom of their deck.
Because it has to block. So and again, there's things like Valentina herself gets pumped by the more cards you have in hand. She could be a big nasty, over 1,000, forcing them to block. It's more useful than it looks on the tin. And it also has discard another card named Gleipnir, the Red Binding of Fate, to draw a card. You have 4 of those in the deck. You then get Send Back, which is a spell Chant. It can be played in your turn, only costs 1 water, and return target addition, resonator, or regalia to its owner's hand. This is a very good utility card.
Yeah, and it's as you can tell from this deck, water's all about screwing over your opponent and drawing lots of cards.
This can help clear the way for your guys to swing through. It's very useful.
Clears the way for Valentina, so you can draw an extra card with Gleipnir.
Yep. You get 4 of those in there. We also have the Overlords Invasion Party. So this is Valentina's Invasion Party. It's a 300/300 for 2 will. It counts as a soldier, but it gains +100/+100 for each water magic stone you control. There's a maximum of 10 in this deck. So if you had all 10 in play, it's a 1,300/1,300
yeah.
for 2 will. You can't complain at that.
No. It's easily worth 2 will anyway, because that immediately puts it at 500/500, which is pretty standard for a 2-drop, really.
Yeah.
So.
And you get 4 of those in there. And then last, we get 2 Wall of Ideas. Only 1 will to play. It's an instant, so you can play this in yours and your opponent's turn at pretty much any time. And target resonator gains either -800 attack or +800 defense until end of turn. The idea being that either way, your resonator survives combat, or yourself if you're minusing the attack. So there we go. That is everything in the Valentina deck. In terms of upgrading it, I mean, you've already got the 4 Shangri-La, which is usually the first thing I point out for water decks. I think it might just be a case of maybe trying to switch 1 or 2 of the 3 drops for 2 drops if you want to abuse Valentina more. Or switching things like the Squire and stuff for some of the Gorgons that do exist in other sets.
Yeah, there's one other Gorgon, isn't there, that sort of works with these 2.
Yeah, so you might want to look at being able to switch into those instead. But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, it's a fairly solid deck. It's a bit control-y. Again, you might want to look at the more control elements to mix into it. I think it works as a whole, but there's no clear path of where you should go next with it. So I think this one's more an experimentation of what you want to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go. That is everything in the Valentina, the Ruler of Paradise, water deck for Force of Will. So, I hope you've enjoyed watching. Remember, everything you've seen here today can be bought and sold on our website, bigorbitcards.co.uk. Remember to like and subscribe. Join us for more unboxings in future. I'll be doing the rest of the trial decks. That's bye from me, Simon.
Bye from me, James.
I'll see you next time. Bye.